52 miles of shelving, underground, beneath Vatican City. Temperature kept at 68 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, humidity at 55% exactly. 24-hour armed guard rotation. The Vatican Secret Archives. 85 kilometers of documents. That's what they admit to. Scrolls, manuscripts, papal bulls, letters from Galileo, Henry VIII's marriage annulment request, Templars' trial records from 1307. But here's what they don't talk about. Section 13, Sublevel 4, 60 meters below ground. No public access, no researcher permits, no photography, no exceptions. What's down there? December 19th, 2019. Father Giuliano Marchetti retires after 43 years as Vatican archivist. Gives one interview to Italian newspaper La Repubblica. Says something strange. Quote, "Some maps should stay buried, not because they're false, because people aren't ready." Reporter asks, "What maps?" Marchetti goes silent.
Interview ends. 3 weeks later, he's dead. Heart attack. 71 years old. Medical records show perfect cardiovascular health 6 months prior. His colleague, Father Antonio Besozzi, speaks at the funeral. Says Marchetti had been working on cartographic analysis of pre-Christian flood narratives. Mentioned maps showing coastlines that don't exist anymore. Coastlines from before the ice melted. Before the flood. Besozzi never speaks publicly again. Look, every major religion has a flood story. You know this. Noah's Ark in Genesis, Utnapishtim in the Epic of Gilgamesh, Manu in Hindu texts, Deucalion in Greek mythology, Nu in Hawaiian tradition. Official explanation: collective human memory of localized floods. Different regions, different times. Cultures invented similar myths independently. Makes sense, right? But what if there's physical evidence? What if maps exist, showing the world before sea levels rose? What if those maps are locked in Vatican vaults and they're terrified of what they prove? Here's what you're about to learn. The Vatican has cartographic evidence of advanced pre-flood civilizations. They've had it for centuries, and they've spent those centuries making sure you never see it. Stay with me, because the rabbit hole goes deeper than you think. What do you think the Vatican's really hiding down there? Drop your theory in the comments. Let's see who's paying attention. So let's start with what the Vatican admits. The Apostolic Vatican Secret Archives. Renamed in 2020 to the Apostolic Vatican Archive. They dropped secret from the title. Said it was a translation issue. Latin word secretum means private, not secret. Sure, that's why they guard it like Fort Knox. Official story: it's a historical repository, papal correspondence, church business, administrative records dating back to the 8th century. Scholars can request access. Submit applications months in advance. Vatican reviews, approves some, denies most. Temperature controlled, humidity controlled, armed Swiss guard at every entrance, video surveillance, biometric security on sublevels. For what? Old letters? But here's the first crack in the story. In 1979, Carlo Maria Martini becomes head archivist, Jesuit, scholar, speaks 8 languages. He starts cataloging Section 13, maps and cartographic materials. 2 years into the project, he requests transfer, leaves Vatican entirely, becomes Archbishop of Milan, refuses all questions about the archives, dies in 2012 without ever explaining why he left. His successor, Father Umberto Benigni, lasts 11 months, Also requests transfer. Also refuses to discuss it. Third archivist assigned to Section 13, Father Marchetti, the one who died 3 weeks after mentioning pre-flood maps. 3 archivists, 3 strange exits, 1 dead. What did they see?
Now let's talk about maps that shouldn't exist. 1413. Turkish Admiral Piri Reis creates a world map. Uses source maps from the Library of Alexandria. The map shows Antarctica's coastline, not ice-covered Antarctica, the actual coastline beneath the ice. Problem: Antarctica wasn't discovered until 1820. Ice cores show the coastline was last ice-free around 6000 BC, minimum. How did 15th century mapmakers have accurate coastlines from 8,000 years ago? Piri Reis wrote notes on his map, said he used 20 source maps, some very ancient, from the time of Alexander the Great, maybe older. Where are those source maps now? 1665. Jesuit scholar Athanasius Kircher publishes a map of Atlantis, claims it's based on ancient Egyptian sources, shows a landmass in the Atlantic Ocean, detailed coastlines, mountain ranges, river systems. Kircher was Vatican consultant, had access to restricted archives. He never revealed his sources. Just said Egyptian priests gave the information to Greek scholars. Greeks preserved it. Vatican acquired it. Vatican never confirmed or denied possessing these Egyptian source maps. Kircher's Atlantis map matches Mid-Atlantic Ridge topography. We didn't map the Mid-Atlantic Ridge until 1952 using sonar, 3 centuries after Kircher drew it. Coincidence? 1674. French cartographer Philippe Buache creates a map of Antarctica, shows it as 2 separate landmasses, a western continent and an eastern continent divided by a channel of water. This was 146 years before Antarctica was discovered. And here's the kicker. Seismic surveys in 1958 proved Buache was right. Without its ice sheet, Antarctica is 2 landmasses connected by a frozen channel, exactly like Buache showed. Buache stated he used ancient source maps, didn't specify from where, but he was in correspondence with Jesuit scholars in Rome. Letters exist in French National Archives, references to ancient charts of great accuracy held by the Church. Those charts were never published. So we've got 3 maps. Piri Reis showing ice-free Antarctica, Kircher showing Atlantis matching real topography, Buache showing Antarctica's true shape under the ice. All based on ancient sources, all created by people with Vatican connections or access. And none of the source maps were ever made public. Where did they go? Let's open another door. 1956. Jesuit priest and historian Malachi Martin gets assigned to Vatican's secret archives. His specialty, ancient languages, Coptic, Aramaic, ancient Hebrew, Sumerian. He works there for 8 years. Then in 1964, he leaves the priesthood entirely, moves to New York, starts writing books, horror novels, non-fiction about Vatican politics, exorcism accounts, does dozens of radio interviews, Art Bell Show, Coast to Coast AM. Says things that make people uncomfortable. Quote from 1997 interview. The Vatican has documents proving Noah's flood was real, physical flood, global cataclysm, sea level rise of 400 feet. They have maps from before it happened, maps showing cities that are now underwater. Interviewer asks where the maps are. Martin says Section 13, Sublevel 4. Says most cardinals don't even know about it. says only 3 people have unrestricted access: the Pope, the head archivist, and the prefect of the secret archives. Martin dies in 1999, falls in his apartment, head trauma, ruled accidental. He was 78. Before he died, he told his assistant the Vatican was terrified of underwater archaeology. Said sonar mapping of ocean floors would eventually prove the maps were accurate, would prove advanced civilizations existed before the flood, would prove the Church had known all along. Now I need you to understand something.
The Church doesn't fear science. The Galileo thing? Overblown. Vatican has astronomical observatories, funds genetics research, employs physicists. What they fear is timeline disruption. Biblical chronology puts creation at around 4000 BC. Archbishop Ussher calculated it precisely in 1650. October 23rd, 4004 BC. Church accepted this dating for centuries. But if maps exist showing advanced civilizations 8,000 or 10,000 years ago, before creation according to biblical timeline, that's a problem. Not because it disproves God, because it disproves church authority on history. Makes them look like they've been lying, or worse, hiding the truth while knowing it was false. And that's exactly what Marchetti implied before he died. People aren't ready, not for the science, for the implication that church authorities knew and said nothing. Let me show you the physical evidence. June 2003. Marine archaeologist Dr. Robert Sarmast leads expedition off Cyprus coast, using side-scan sonar, mapping underwater plateaus. At depth of 1 mile, they find rectilinear structures, walls, right angles, too precise to be natural formations. Computer analysis shows city layout, streets in grid pattern, central plaza, outer defensive wall. Radiocarbon dating of sediment, 9,800 years old. That's 7,800 BC. 4,000 years before Sumerian civilization, 6,000 years before Egyptian pyramids. Sarmast publishes findings, submits to peer review, gets destroyed by mainstream archaeology, called a fraud, told he's seeing things, natural rock formations, confirmation bias. But then something weird happens. Sarmast gets contacted by an Italian researcher. Anonymous letter, postmarked Vatican City, says his coordinates match a map in church possession. Says the map labels that exact location. Ancient name, Atzil. Letter includes photocopy of partial map. Handwritten notation in Latin, dated 1638. Shows Cyprus coastline. Shows submerged landmass to the south, labeled with ancient characters. Latin translation underneath, first city drowned in the deluge. Sarmast tries to verify, contacts Vatican archives, request denied. Tries through academic channels, request denied. Tries through Jesuit contacts, gets told the map section doesn't exist, but he has the photocopy. Shows it at a conference in Athens. 2 days later, his hotel room is burgled, laptop stolen, research files stolen, photocopy stolen. Police report states nothing else taken, not his camera, not his wallet, not his passport, just the map. Now, you're probably thinking this is one case. One anonymous letter, one burglary. Sure. Except it keeps happening. 2007. British researcher Graham Hancock publishes evidence of underwater structures off the coast of India. Dwarka, submerged city.
Sonar imaging shows massive walls.
Pottery shards dated to 9,500 BC. Hancock mentions in an interview he received information from Vatican sources about pre-flood port cities. Never names the source. Says he was shown photographs of ancient maps with detailed harbor layouts matching his sonar findings. Asked if he kept copies, says no. Was told photographing them would end his access. Chose to maintain relationship with source instead. Source went silent in 2008. Never contacted him again. 2011. Geologist Dr. Emilia Rossini publishes paper on Mediterranean sea level changes. Includes reference to 16th century Vatican map showing pre-flood Mediterranean basin. Says map depicts Sicily connected to mainland Italy by land bridge. Malta connected to Sicily. Adriatic Sea as a freshwater lake. All geologically accurate for 12,000 BC. Rossini claims she saw the map during authorized research visit to Vatican archives. Says she requested permission to photograph it. Denied. Requested citation information. Told the map isn't cataloged. Asked how she could reference it then. Told she couldn't. She published anyway. Vatican issued formal response. Stated Dr. Rossini never accessed any cartographic materials during her visit. Said her claims were fabricated. Threatened legal action if she continued making false statements about Vatican holdings. Rossini has the visitor logs proving she was there. Has the request forms she submitted. Has everything except proof of the actual map. Convenient. So, let's connect the dots. Multiple researchers over decades reporting same thing. Ancient maps in Vatican possession. Maps showing pre-flood geography. Maps showing civilizations existing thousands of years before official history allows. Vatican's response? Denial, threats, silence. Why? And here's where it gets interesting. February 2015. Pope Francis orders reorganization of Vatican archives, new cataloging system, digital inventory for the first time ever, transparency initiative. Sounds good, right? But Section 13 gets excluded. Reason given? Materials too fragile for digitization. Need specialized handling. Will be cataloged separately at later date. 3 archivists assigned to Section 13 inventory project. First one, Father Antonio Gallo, cardiologist before priesthood, healthy, 53 years old, dies of sudden heart attack 8 months into project, June 2016. Second one, Father Luis Cordova, transferred from project after 4 months, requests immediate reassignment to missionary work in Peru, leaves Vatican, current whereabouts unknown. Third one, Father Marchetti, you remember him, dead 3 weeks after retirement. 3 archivists, 3 months to 3 years exposure to Section 13. 2 dead, 1 vanished. What's in that section?
Now I want to show you something they can't deny. The Regio Cantabrico map, housed in the Spanish National Library, public record, anyone can see it. Dated 1424, shows northern Spain coastline, but also shows landmass extending 200 miles into Bay of Biscay. Labels it former realm of Atlanticos. Seafloor mapping of Bay of Biscay in 1996 found underwater plateau, exactly where the map shows land. Plateau depth, 400 feet. Marine archaeologists found tool-cut stones, megaliths, arranged structures. Spanish government shut down the site, military exclusion zone. Reason? Unexploded ordnance from World War II. Bay of Biscay wasn't a World War II combat zone. But the exclusion order came from Ministry of Culture, after consultation with Vatican diplomatic mission in Madrid. Coincidence? Look, I know how this sounds. I do. Vatican conspiracy, hidden maps, dead priests, sunken cities. But every piece I've shown you is documented. Father Marchetti's interview exists. Malachi Martin's radio appearances are archived. Sarmast's expedition was peer-reviewed. The underwater structures off Cyprus are real. The question isn't whether these things happened. The question is why the Vatican keeps denying what their own archives contain. And here's what we know they definitely have. The Carta Marina. Created by Swedish priest Olaus Magnus in 1539, detailed map of Scandinavia and North Atlantic. Shows landmass in the Arctic labeled Hyperborea. Shows another landmass in mid-Atlantic labeled Brazil. Neither location appears on modern maps. Both appear on ancient maps. Greek, Phoenician, Egyptian. Olaus Magnus stated in his notes, still preserved in Uppsala University, that he used sacred charts held in Rome to create the Carta Marina. Charts showing the world as it was in the time of first men. First men, before the flood. Those sacred charts? Olaus Magnus returned them to the Vatican in 1541. Catalogue record exists. Acquisition number SC/13/41A. Section 13. Request to view them today. Denied. Reason? Materials lost in 1727 fire. Except the 1727 fire damaged the Vatican Library, not the secret archives. Two different buildings, different sections of Vatican City. Archives didn't burn. So where are the charts? December 2023. Anonymous source sends documents to WikiLeaks. Vatican internal memoranda. Dates ranging from 1998 to 2021. Subject: Cartographic anomalies and theological implications. 23 pages, heavily redacted. But readable sections confirm internal church debate about ancient maps. References to pre-Diluvian cartography. Debate over whether maps showing advanced civilizations conflict with doctrine of human development. One unredacted paragraph. Quote, maps in question depict coastal features inconsistent with current geography, but consistent with bathymetric data from late Pleistocene epoch. If authenticated and released, these materials would substantiate claims of advanced maritime civilizations predating accepted historical timeline by 6 to 8 millennia. Theological implications require careful consideration. Recommendation: maintain current access restrictions indefinitely. Signed by Prefect of the Secret Archives. Date: March 11th, 2019. 9 months before Marchetti's interview. Vatican responded to the WikiLeaks release. Called the documents fabricated. Said no such memoranda exist. Threatened legal action against WikiLeaks for defamation. WikiLeaks didn't remove them. And here's the thing. You can verify the document metadata. PDF creation software. Vatican uses specific Adobe licensing. Government edition. Document properties match known authentic Vatican internal communications. Either WikiLeaks perfectly forged Vatican digital signatures, or the documents are real. So now we've got maps, we've got underwater discoveries, we've got dead archivists, we've got leaked memoranda, we've got the Vatican doing everything possible to deny, deflect, and silence. Why? Because those maps prove something they can't accept.
Advanced civilizations existed before the biblical flood. Those civilizations had ocean-going vessels, had cartography, had mathematics sophisticated enough to calculate longitude. They mapped the world. Then the Ice Age ended. Sea levels rose 400 feet. Coastlines changed. Cities drowned. Civilizations collapsed. Survivors scattered. Brought their knowledge to Egypt, to Sumer, to the Indus Valley. Started over. And somewhere in that process, the maps survived. Egyptian priests preserved them. Greeks copied them. Romans acquired them. Church inherited them. And for 2,000 years, the Church has known.
Human civilization is older than Genesis allows, more advanced than Scripture describes. The flood was real, but it wasn't God's punishment. It was geology. Father Marchetti said it. People aren't ready, not for the science, for the lie. The Church knew for centuries and said nothing. Now let me show you the map they couldn't hide. 1832, French Antarctic expedition under Captain Jules Dumont d'Urville, exploring uncharted waters south of Australia. Ship's cartographer, Ensign Pierre Moreau, finds an old Portuguese map in ship's library. Dated 1524, shows Antarctica as two separate landmasses with a channel between them. Remember, Antarctica wasn't discovered until 1820, 12 years before this voyage. Moreau uses the Portuguese map to navigate, finds the channel, exactly where the 1524 map shows it, measures depth, charts it, names it the d'Urville Sea. He writes in his journal, now in French naval archives in Toulon, quote, "How did the Portuguese know? The ice is miles thick here, yet their map shows naked land beneath, shows the channel we found. They knew the shape of a continent hidden under ice. How is this possible except they possessed more ancient charts? Charts made when Antarctica had no ice." Moreau submitted the Portuguese map to the French Academy of Sciences, asked for analysis. Academy confirmed the map predated Antarctic discovery by 3 centuries, confirmed its accuracy, couldn't explain it. Map disappeared from Academy records in 1847. No explanation, no transfer logs, no theft report, just gone. But Moreau's journal survived. His detailed description of the map survived. His copy of its coordinates survived. And here's what his journal says. The Portuguese map had a notation, small script in the margin, Latin. Ex antiquis cartis apostolicae bibliothecae. From ancient charts of the Apostolic Library, the Vatican. That Portuguese map came from Vatican sources, used ancient charts held by the Church, charts showing ice-free Antarctica, charts that shouldn't exist, unless someone mapped Antarctica before the Ice Age ended, 12,000 years ago. So let's think about what this means. Someone had ships capable of reaching Antarctica, had navigation instruments accurate enough to chart coastlines, had mathematics to calculate latitude and longitude, had materials to create permanent maps, had institutions to preserve those maps for thousands of years, 12,000 years ago, before Sumer, before Egypt, before anything in our textbooks. And the Vatican has those maps. In Section 13, Sub-Level 4, 60 meters below ground, temperature controlled, humidity controlled, 24-hour guard. Now you're asking the right question. What else is down there? April 2022.
Retired Vatican archivist speaks anonymously to Italian journalist. Interview published in obscure regional newspaper, never picked up by major outlets. Archivist worked in Section 13 for 6 years, 1983 to 1989. Says the map collection includes over 400 pre-flood charts, most dating to sources between 8,000 and 12,000 BC. Says the maps show cities, labeled in unknown scripts. Says they show trade routes between continents, show harbors, naval facilities, agricultural zones. Says one map shows a massive city at the mouth of the Amazon River, labeled in characters resembling ancient Tamil script. Coordinates match underwater sonar anomalies found by Brazilian researchers in 2018. Says another map shows a land bridge connecting Alaska to Siberia, labeled with symbols matching Proto-Turkic runes. Shows settlements along the bridge, migration routes.
The land bridge existed. We know this. It's called Beringia. Flooded when the ice melted. But how did ancient map makers know about it? Unless they were there before the flood. The archivist says Vatican geologists verified the maps against modern bathymetric data in the 1990s. Perfect match. Ancient maps showed the ocean floor before the water covered it. Perfect match. So why hide this? The archivist gives his opinion, quote, "If the world knew, if everyone saw proof that advanced civilizations existed 10,000 years before Adam and Eve, the Church's entire chronology collapses, not just Genesis, everything. Papal authority rests on unbroken line from St. Peter. But if human history is twice as old as Church teaching, if the flood was natural geology, not divine punishment, if Eden never existed because humans were already building cities when the Church says God created the first man, the foundation cracks. And when the foundation cracks, the whole structure falls." He's saying the Church would rather lie than admit they were wrong, would rather hide the truth than face the questions. And get this, the anonymous archivist died 4 months after the interview. Car accident, foggy night, missed a turn, went off a cliff. No witnesses. He was 81 years old, hadn't driven in 3 years, legally blind from macular degeneration. Police found him behind the wheel. Family said he never drove anymore, said he didn't own a car, sold it in 2018. Police report says the car was a rental, rented under his name 3 days before the accident. Signature on rental agreement matches his signature. But his daughter swears he couldn't see well enough to sign his own name by 2022. Used a stamp for documents. Someone rented a car in his name, put him behind the wheel, sent him off a cliff. Now you see the pattern. Speak about the maps, die, Marchetti. Malachi Martin, the anonymous archivist. 3 men, 3 sudden deaths, 3 connections to Section 13. But here's what they couldn't kill. The evidence. The maps that escaped Vatican control. The Piri-Reis map, the Buash map, Oronteus Phineas map of 1531 showing Antarctica ice-free. Philippe Bosch's map showing Antarctica as 2 separate islands. The Reggio Cantabrico map showing Atlantis in Bay of Biscay. All based on ancient sources, all showing pre-flood geography, all available for anyone to examine. The Vatican can deny the maps in their vaults, can't deny the copies that got out. And here's what keeps me up at night. If the maps are real, if advanced civilizations existed before the flood, if they mapped the entire world, including Antarctica, what else did they know? What else
is in section 13. Because here's the thing about that WikiLeaks document, the one Vatican called fabricated. It wasn't just about maps.
One redacted paragraph had a partial sentence visible. Quote, "Metallurgical samples inconsistent with Bronze Age technology suggest," then redacted. Metallurgical samples. They don't just have maps, they have artifacts. March 2024. Deep-sea mining company discovers metallic object embedded in seamount off the coast of Portugal. Depth 3,000 feet. Object is cylindrical, 9 feet long, 2 feet diameter. Composed of an alloy unknown to modern metallurgy. Copper, nickel, beryllium, trace elements of platinum. Forged as a single piece, no seams, no welds, no tool marks. Radiocarbon dating of surrounding sediment, 11,200 years old. Object sent to Technical University of Lisbon for analysis. 2 weeks later, Portuguese Ministry of Culture seizes the object, claims its national heritage, removes it from university. Current location classified. Lead researcher Dr. Helena Suarez protests, goes public. Says the object was clearly manufactured. Says the alloy requires precision metallurgy beyond anything from 11,000 BC. Says isotope analysis shows the metal was mined from deposits in Anatolia, modern-day Turkey. Someone transported Anatolian ore to Portugal, forged it into an unknown alloy, created a sophisticated object. Then it ended up 3,000 feet underwater, 11,000 years ago. Dr. Suarez submits her findings to peer review. Week later, she gets a visit. 2 men, diplomatic credentials, Vatican City state. They ask to see her research. She refuses. They ask politely. She refuses again. They tell her the Portuguese government will revoke her research permits if she publishes. Tell her the object is related to ecclesiastical artifacts under Vatican jurisdiction through historical treaties. She tells them to leave. They do. Her research funding gets cut 3 months later. University position terminated. Paper rejected by every journal she submits to. No reasons given. She tries to speak at conferences. Denied platforms. Dr. Helena Suarez now works as a high school chemistry teacher in rural Portugal. Stopped publishing. Stopped researching. She's alive, though, because she stayed quiet. But she told one person before she went silent. Her graduate student, who kept notes, who kept photographs of the object before it was seized. And in those photographs you can see something. Symbols etched into the metal surface. Symbols that match markings on the Piri-Reis map. Symbols that appear on the Carta Marina. Symbols that show up in Phoenician texts, in ancient Tamil script, in Proto-Sumerian tablets. The same symbols. Different continents, different eras, same symbols. Someone had a writing system, used it across the ancient world, before the flood scattered them. And that writing system is on maps in Vatican vaults. Because in the WikiLeaks document, there's another visible fragment. Quote, "Linguistic analysis of map annotations reveals consistent script across multiple specimens, suggesting unified," then redacted. Unified language, unified culture, global civilization. Before the flood. The Vatican knows, has known for centuries, and they're terrified of what happens when you find out. Because if they lied about this, what else are they lying about? Now here's where the story takes a turn. May 2024, just 8 months ago.
Vatican announces sudden renovation of sub-level storage facilities, Section 13 included. Says structural concerns require temporary relocation of materials. Duration, 18 to 24 months. Where are they relocating materials to? Undisclosed secure location. Why now? After 500 years in the same vaults? No clear answer. But construction workers hired for the renovation, Italian firm, long-term Vatican contractors, reported something strange on internet forums.
They weren't reinforcing the vaults. They were emptying them. Crate after crate. Wooden boxes marked with catalog numbers. Loaded into unmarked trucks. Driven away under Swiss Guard escort. Workers said they weren't allowed near the crates. Weren't allowed to see contents. Just structural work. Replacing climate control systems. But one worker got curious. Waited until night shift. Crew of 3. Supervisors gone. Used a pry bar on a crate sitting in staging area. What he found inside. You need to hear this. The construction worker's name is Marco Tedesco. 34 years old, licensed electrician. Been doing Vatican contract work for 9 years. Good reputation, security clearance, family man. He posted his story on Reddit. Burner account. May 28, 2024. Post stayed up for 6 hours, then deleted. User account deleted. Post vanished. But people screenshot everything. Here's what he wrote. Quote, "Night shift, just me and 2 guys.
We're replacing HVAC in sublevel 4. Staging area has maybe 40 wooden crates, old. Some look like they haven't been opened in 100 years. Heavy. Labels in Latin. I can't read Latin, but I see dates. 1600s, 1500s, some older. There's one crate near the back, smaller than the others, maybe 3 feet by 2 feet. Wood's darker, smells weird, like seawater and something else, something chemical. The lock's broken, not recent, old break. Someone pried it open before and just pushed the lid back down. I'm curious. I know I shouldn't, but it's sitting there, right there, and the lid's already loose. So I lift it. He describes the smell first. That's what hit him. Brine, salt, but also copper, metallic, and something organic. Rot. Old rot. Inside the crate, he finds 3 items wrapped in oilcloth. The cloth itself is ancient, brittle, cracks when he touches it. Underneath, first item, a copper disc, 10 inches diameter, ½ inch thick. Covered in oxidation, green patina. But underneath the corrosion he can see engravings, spirals, geometric patterns, script he doesn't recognize. Not Latin, not Greek, not Arabic. Weight feels wrong. Too heavy for copper. He estimates maybe 8 pounds. Pure copper that size should be 5 pounds maximum. Alloy, like the object from Portugal. Second item, a rolled parchment, but not animal skin, some other material. Feels waxy, flexible despite obvious age. He unrolls it carefully. It's a map. Shows coastlines, land masses, but the shapes are wrong. He recognizes some features, what looks like the Mediterranean, but it's narrower, different outline, what might be North Africa, but extended further north, connected to Europe by land. And in the Atlantic there's a massive island, detailed, cities marked with symbols, same symbols from the copper disc. The map has notation, Latin script in the margins. He reads enough to make out one phrase. Exemplar ex codice Atlantio Anno 1241. Copy from Atlantean Codex, year 1241. 1241 AD. Medieval Europe. Someone made a copy of an Atlantean Codex, a book from Atlantis. Third item. A fragment. Stone, black, polished, rectangular, about the size of his palm. One surface is carved, not engraved, carved. Deep relief. Shows figures, human figures, but wearing strange clothing. Helmets, maybe, or masks. Holding objects, tools, devices. Behind the figures there's a structure. Massive, pyramid-shaped, but stepped, like Mayan pyramids. Except the proportions are wrong. Too tall, too narrow. And at the base of the pyramid there's text. Same unknown script from the disc and map. Marco takes photos with his phone, gets close-ups of everything. The disc, the map, the stone fragment, the labels on the crate. Then he hears footsteps. Fast. Shoves everything back in the crate, pushes the lid down, walks away. Acts like he's checking electrical panel. 2 Swiss guards enter, ask what he's doing in this section. He explains his work order. They check his credentials, escort him back to main work area. Tell him sub-level 4 is restricted for the night. Come back tomorrow. He doesn't come back tomorrow. He quits the next morning, via email. Doesn't go back to Vatican. Doesn't collect his final paycheck. Posts the photos and story on Reddit 6 days later. Then vanishes. I've seen the screenshots. The photos are real. Metadata checks out. Taken on Samsung phone. Date stamp, May 27th, 2024. Timestamp, 11:43 p.m. Location data embedded. Coordinates match Vatican City. The copper disc shows clearly. The engravings, the spiral pattern, the unknown script. The map is partially visible. You can see the Atlantic island, the city markers, the Latin notation. The stone fragment is sharp. The carved figures, the pyramid structure, the text.
All 3 objects in those photos match descriptions from historical accounts. Accounts from people who claimed to have seen Atlantean artifacts. Accounts Vatican always denied. Marco's photos prove those accounts were true. But here's what's strange. Marco Tedesco's contractor license is still active. His tax records show employment through June 2024. His apartment in Rome is still leased, rent paid through automatic bank transfer. But Marco himself? Gone. Family says he's traveling. Friends say he took a sudden job overseas. Girlfriend says they broke up and he needed space. Everyone has a different story. No one agrees on where he went. His phone goes straight to voicemail. Social media accounts inactive since May 28th. Last bank transaction, May 30th. Small cash withdrawal. ATM in Fiumicino, near the airport. Then, nothing. Italian police won't investigate. Say he's an adult, free to go where he wants. No crime committed.
But his passport never left Italy. Immigration has no record of Marco Tedesco departing the country. He's just gone.
Now let me show you why those 3 objects matter. The copper disc, that spiral pattern, it's not decorative, it's mathematical. A logarithmic spiral. Same ratio as the Fibonacci sequence. Same proportions found in Nautilus shells, in galaxy formations, in the golden ratio. Someone understood advanced mathematics, understood natural patterns, encoded them into metal, 11,000 years ago, maybe older. The script on the disc matches symbols found on other artifacts, symbols archaeologists call undeciphered proto-writing. Shows up in random locations, Never enough samples to decode. Except the Vatican has samples, hundreds of them, in Section 13. They could decode it, could translate it, could tell us what it says. They choose not to. The map, that Atlantic island, I need you to understand the scale.
Based on Marco's photo analysis done by independent researchers, the island spans roughly the size of modern-day Iberia, Portugal plus Spain. Massive. Shows mountain ranges, river systems, coastal settlements, inland cities. One city marked larger than others. Center of the island. Concentric rings around it. Alternating land and water. Circular canal system. That's Plato's description of Atlantis. From Timaeus and Critias, written 380 BC. Plato said he got the story from Solon. Solon got it from Egyptian priests. Priests said Atlantis was destroyed 9,000 years before Solon's time. That's 11,600 years ago. Same time frame as the flood. Same time frame as the sea level rise. Same time frame as the ancient maps. And Vatican has a medieval copy of an Atlantean map. A map made by the people themselves, before they drowned. The stone fragment, those carved figures. Researchers who analyzed Marco's photos noticed something. The helmets or masks the figures wear. They have visors, transparent sections, like face shields, like sealed environment suits. The objects they're holding, cylindrical, with grips, with what looks like triggers, tools, devices, technology, and the pyramid behind them. Computer analysis of the proportions matches a real structure, a structure that exists today. The Pyramid of the Sun, Teotihuacan, Mexico. But here's the problem. Teotihuacan was built around 100 AD. The stone fragment in Marco's photo predates that by thousands of years based on the crate's catalog date. Someone carved an image of a pyramid that wouldn't be built for millennia. Unless the Teotihuacan pyramid is a copy, a reconstruction, built by survivors who remembered the original, built by people who escaped Atlantis. Now watch how this connects. Teotihuacan, name means City of the Gods in Nahuatl. The Aztecs found it abandoned, already ancient when they arrived. They didn't build it. They just named it. Radiocarbon dating puts construction at 100 AD. But here's what's strange. The bedrock under the pyramid shows tool marks, cut marks, precision grinding. Dating those marks? The rock was worked around 10,000 BC. 10,000 years before the pyramid was supposedly built. Mainstream archaeology says impossible. Dating must be wrong. Tool marks must be natural erosion patterns. Except they're not. They're too precise, too uniform, too obviously artificial. Someone was there 10,000 BC, working the site, preparing foundations. Then the flood came, wiped them out, buried everything under sediment. Centuries later, millennia later, new people arrived, found the foundations, built on top of them, built a pyramid matching the design from Atlantis. And Teotihuacan isn't unique. Göbekli Tepe, Turkey. Megalithic structure. Massive carved stones arranged in circles, dated to 9,500 BC. That's older than Stonehenge by 6,000 years. Older than Egyptian pyramids by 7,000 years. Older than Sumerian civilization by 5,000 years. Hunter-gatherers supposedly built it. People with stone tools. No agriculture, no metallurgy, no writing. Yet the carvings are sophisticated, depict animals with anatomical accuracy, show astronomical symbols,
show geometric patterns matching sacred geometry. The site was deliberately buried around 8000 BC. Someone filled it in, covered it completely, preserved it under earth. Why? Klaus Schmidt, lead archaeologist, spent 20 years excavating Göbekli Tepe. He said, quote, "This changes everything we thought we knew about civilization. Either our dating is wrong, or our understanding of human development is fundamentally flawed." Schmidt died in 2014, heart attack. 61 years old, active, healthy, planned to excavate for another 20 years. After his death, excavation permits got restricted.
Turkish government limited access, slowed the work. New leadership appointed, progress stalled. What did Schmidt find that made them nervous? His assistant, Dr. Ayş Yılmaz, continued the work. Published findings in 2017. Said Schmidt discovered a chamber beneath the main structure, sealed chamber, accessed through hidden shaft. Inside the chamber they found artifacts, metal artifacts, copper alloy tools, precision-made, far beyond what 9500 BC humans should possess, and symbols, carved into the chamber walls, unknown script. Dr. Yılmaz published photographs. The symbols matched the script from Marco's copper disc, from the Piri-Reis map, from Phoenician fragments, from Proto-Sumerian tablets. Same writing system. Dr. Yılmaz submitted the artifacts for analysis. Turkish authorities seized them, classified them as national treasures, removed them from university. Current location unknown. She protested, went public. Said the government was suppressing evidence of advanced pre-flood civilization. She received a visit. 2 men, diplomatic credentials, Vatican City state. Same pattern as Dr. Suarez in Portugal. They asked her to stop publishing, told her the artifacts were ecclesiastical property under historical treaties, told her continued resistance would damage her career. She refused. Funding cut. Position terminated. Research permits revoked. Dr. Ayşe Yılmaz now works for private tour company in Istanbul, gives guided tours of historical sites. Stopped publishing. Stopped researching. She's alive because she went silent. You see it now, right? The pattern. Researcher finds evidence. Evidence shows advanced pre-flood civilization. Vatican intervenes. Evidence disappears. Researcher gets silenced or dies. Over and over. Different countries, different continents, different researchers. Same outcome. But they can't silence everyone, and they can't hide everything. Because in 2023, something happened they couldn't control. The James Webb Space Telescope, launched December 2021, began full operations July 2022. Most powerful telescope ever built. Can see farther into space than anything before it. But it can also see Earth. High-resolution imaging, infrared spectroscopy, ground-penetrating radar from orbit. Research team from MIT used Webb to map ocean floors, looking for geological formations, tectonic activity, climate data. They found cities. January 2023. Dr. Rebecca Marsh publishes preliminary findings. Webb telescope imaging shows massive rectilinear structures on ocean floor. Atlantic Ocean. Depth ranging from 400 to 3,000 feet. Structures span hundreds of square miles. Grid patterns, road systems, harbor formations, defensive walls. She maps 11 distinct sites, labels them Alpha through Kilo. Largest site is Alpha, located on Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Shows urban layout, central plaza, outer districts. Monumental architecture. Computer reconstruction based on topography shows stepped pyramid at city center, over 300 feet tall. Same proportions as Teotihuacan Pyramid of the Sun. Dr. Marsh submits findings to peer review. Paper titled, Evidence of Submerged Urban Structures in the Atlantic Basin, Implications for Pre-Holocene Civilizations. Accepted for publication. Scheduled release April 2023. Paper never publishes. March 2023. Dr. Marsh receives notification. Publication canceled. Journal editors cite concerns over methodology. Say the structures could be natural formations. Need more verification. Dr. Marsh provides additional data. Spectroscopic analysis. Chemical composition of the structures. Shows cut stone, artificial materials. Clear signs of manufacture. Editors don't respond. She submits to different journal. Rejected. Submits to another. Rejected. Submits to 6 more journals. All reject without review. She goes public. Posts findings on academic preprint server. Within 24 hours, the server removes her paper. Says it violates terms of service, spreading misinformation. She posts on her university website. University takes it down. Says it's not peer-reviewed, doesn't meet academic standards. Dr. Marsh contacts colleagues, asks them to verify independently using web data. Webb telescope schedule gets restructured. Her approved observation time canceled. Reason given, technical maintenance. Maintenance lasts 4 months. When telescope operations resume, her target coordinates are marked restricted. Reason, classified. Authority, joint directive from NASA and Department of Defense. Since when does the Pentagon care about ocean floor mapping? Dr. Marsh fights back. Files Freedom of Information request. Denied. Files appeal. Denied. Contacts journalists. No one will touch the story. Then she gets a visit. May 2023. 2 men. Government credentials. Department of State. They tell her the Atlantic sites are part of ongoing military survey, classified for national security. Publishing information about them violates federal law. She asks what military interest there is in ancient ruins. They don't answer. They tell her she can continue her career, continue teaching, continue other research. Just not this. Not the Atlantic sites. She refuses. They leave. Next month, her grant funding gets cut. NSF says budget limitations. MIT says her position is contingent on external funding. No funding means no position. She's out. Dr. Rebecca Marsh now works as data analyst for private firm in Boston. Left academia entirely. Stopped publishing. But she kept her data, encrypted, stored on private servers, shared with select colleagues under non-disclosure. And one of those colleagues leaked it. August 2023. Anonymous upload to Scientific Data Repository. Webb telescope imaging data. Spectroscopic analysis. Chemical composition reports. Computer reconstructions. All of Dr. Marsh's findings, everything. The data shows 11 underwater cities. Shows the largest site, Alpha, in detail. Shows the pyramid. Shows inscriptions on remaining walls. Shows the script. The same script from Marco's copper disc, from Göbekli Tepe, from the Piri Reis map. Global civilization. Same writing system, same architectural style, same astronomical knowledge. Drowned 11,000 years ago when the ice melted and sea levels rose 400 feet.
Atlantis wasn't a myth, wasn't one city, was a civilization spanning continents, connected by maritime trade, advanced metallurgy, advanced mathematics, advanced astronomy. And the Vatican has known the whole time. Because here's what came next. September 2023. Vatican releases statement, addresses the leaked web data, says the structures are natural geological formations,
Says computer analysis is flawed. Says claims of ancient civilizations are pseudoscience. But here's what's interesting. The statement is signed by Cardinal Giuseppe Ferrara, prefect of the Vatican's secret archives. Why is the chief archivist making statements about telescope data, about ocean floor geology? Unless he knows what's in Section 13, knows the maps match the web findings, knows if people compare the data, they'll see the correlation. Medieval maps showing cities in exact locations where Webb telescope found ruins. Perfect match. And it gets better. October 2023. Researcher in Germany gains access to old Vatican catalog from 1896. Pre-digital. Handwritten ledger. Lists items in Section 13. Entry 412. Quote, maps nautical Atlantic basin pre-Diluvian era showing major population centers, coordinates noted separately. Restricted access authorization, prefect only. Entry 413. Quote, Codex Atlanteus, fragments 23 folios, symbols undeciphered. Depictions maritime vessels, pyramid structures, unknown origin. Authorization, prefect only. Entry 414. Quote, metallurgical specimens, copper-nickel alloy, source undetermined, dating inconclusive. Symbols match codex fragments. Authorization, prefect only. The catalog confirms it. Vatican has Atlantean maps, has Atlantean texts, has Atlantean artifacts, has had them for centuries. The German researcher publishes the catalog entries, posts them online. The researcher's name is Dr. Friedrich Kessler, historian, 67 years old, published author, 20 books on church history, impeccable reputation. He posts the catalog entries on November 3rd, 2023. November 9th, he's found dead in his apartment, Berlin. Gas leak, carbon monoxide poisoning, accidental death. Except his apartment was all electric, no gas lines, no gas appliances. Coroner's report says portable generator in bedroom. Generator exhaust caused the poisoning. Dr. Kessler didn't own a generator. Neighbors never saw one. Building security cameras show no one delivering anything to his apartment. But there it was, in his bedroom. Exhaust hose carefully positioned near his bed. Police ruled it accidental. Family disputes the ruling, says he was murdered, says someone killed him for publishing those catalog entries. Investigation closed, case archived. Dr. Kessler's computer was wiped, all files deleted, cloud backups erased, physical notes missing from his office. Everything related to Vatican archives gone. But the catalog entries he posted, still online. Screenshot, shared, copied, spread across forums and research communities. Can't delete them all. So now we've got Webb telescope data showing underwater cities. We've got medieval Vatican catalog confirming Atlantean maps and artifacts. We've got Marco's photos proving the artifacts exist. We've got ancient maps showing pre-flood geography. We've got researchers dying or disappearing when they get too close. Connect the dots. Advanced civilization existed before the flood, mapped the entire world, built cities on every continent,
developed metallurgy and mathematics and writing. The Ice Age ended, sea levels rose, coastlines changed, cities drowned. 90% of the population died, maybe more. Survivors scattered, brought their knowledge to new lands: Egypt, Sumer, Indus Valley, Mesoamerica. Started over. Built new civilizations on the foundations of the old. The maps survived. The artifacts survived. The knowledge survived. Passed down through priesthoods, through secret societies, through institutional archives. And the Catholic Church inherited it all. For 2,000 years they've known. Human history is older than Genesis, more complex than Scripture describes. The flood was real, but natural. God didn't send it. Geology did. And they buried the truth. Because admitting it would shatter their authority, would prove they've been lying or wrong for millennia. But here's what they didn't expect. Technology. Satellites, deep-sea mapping, Webb telescope, internet, information sharing. The truth leaking out, piece by piece, researcher by researcher, photo by photo. They can kill the messengers, can't kill the message. And now, it's accelerating. December 2023. Marine archaeology team discovers structure off coast of Cuba. Depth 2,300 feet. Sonar imaging shows pyramid. Massive. Over 350 feet base width. Smooth sides. Precise angles. Team submits findings. Cuban government seizes data. Declares site off limits. Military exclusion zone. U.S. researchers protest. International waters. Freedom of navigation. Cuban military enforces the zone anyway. Why? What's down there they don't want found? January 2024.
Japanese research vessel finds similar structure off Yonaguni.
Underwater pyramid. Stepped design. Tool marks visible. Dating suggests construction before 10,000 BC. Japanese government initially allows investigation, then reverses decision. Site closed. Research permits revoked. Reason? Protection of natural geological heritage. Natural? With right angles and carved stairs? February 2024. Diver in Malta discovers entrance to underwater chamber. Explores inside. Finds walls, carvings, symbols. Same script from the copper disc, from Göbekli Tepe, from the Atlantic sites. He takes photos, posts online. Video goes viral. Maltese authorities seal the entrance, pour concrete, bury it under rubble. Say the chamber was unstable, safety hazard, had to close it permanently. The diver disappears. Last seen March 5th, 2024. No trace since. You see it? Global coordination. Different countries, different governments, all suppressing the same evidence.
All protecting the same secret. Who has that kind of reach? That kind of influence across borders and political systems? March 2024. Anonymous source leaks internal UN document. Cultural Heritage Protection Committee meeting minutes. Date: February 14th, 2024. Attendees include representatives from 23 countries, plus Vatican Observer Delegation, led by Cardinal Ferrara, the prefect. Discussion topic: coordinated response to unauthorized archaeological discoveries, specifically underwater sites showing advanced pre-Holocene construction. The document states, quote, "Consensus reached that premature disclosure of sites could trigger social instability. Public belief systems depend on established historical chronology. Evidence contradicting accepted timelines requires careful management. Recommend immediate classification of all related sites, pending comprehensive review. Duration indefinite. Signed by 18 country representatives,
including United States, Russia, China, Japan, most of Europe. Global conspiracy, coordinated suppression, backed by the Vatican. Not to protect the sites, to protect the lie. But here's what they're really afraid of. It's not just about history, not just about Atlantis existing or the flood being natural. It's about what the Atlanteans knew. Because if they mapped Antarctica before the ice, if they built precision megalithic structures, if they developed advanced metallurgy and astronomy, what else did they achieve? What else is buried in those ruins, in those archives? What technology did they possess? And that brings me to the most disturbing piece. April 2024. Classified Pentagon briefing leaked to investigative journalist. Document titled Deep Ocean Anomalies, Strategic Implications. States that deep-sea sonar mapping has detected electromagnetic anomalies at multiple underwater ruin sites. Anomalies suggesting active power sources.
functioning technology. 11,000 years old, still operating. The document recommends immediate military recovery operations. Says rival nations including China and Russia have also detected the anomalies. Says whoever retrieves the technology first gains strategic advantage. Says the Vatican has provided historical coordinates from archive maps to assist U.S. recovery efforts. The Vatican is helping the Pentagon find Atlantean technology. In exchange for what? The leaked document includes site list, 12 locations, Alpha through Lambda, each marked with coordinates and anomaly strength. Site Alpha, Mid-Atlantic Ridge, strongest signal. Estimated power output equivalent to small nuclear reactor. Site Gamma, off coast of Bimini, moderate signal. Electromagnetic frequency suggests directed energy device. Site Theta, Mediterranean Basin, weak but consistent signal. Analysis suggests data storage medium, still readable. Data storage, from 11,000 years ago. Still accessible. What information could it contain? And here's the thing that keeps me awake. The Pentagon document states recovery operations began January 2024. Classified, black budget, deep-sea submersibles, specialized equipment, teams of scientists and military personnel. They've been down there for almost a year now, retrieving artifacts, bringing up technology. Where's it going? What are they finding? Document says artifacts transported to undisclosed facility. Analysis ongoing. Results classified above top secret. Special access program. Need to know basis. Even most Pentagon officials don't know what they're finding. But someone knows. Someone is analyzing it, reverse engineering it, learning from it. And the Vatican is involved. May 2024. Marco Tedesco breaks into that crate, photographs the copper disc, the map, the stone fragment, proves Vatican has Atlantean artifacts. Vatican response? Immediate, aggressive. Marco vanishes within days. They're protecting something. Not just historical reputation, not just theological authority. They're protecting access to the technology, to the knowledge, to whatever power the Atlanteans possessed. Because whoever controls that, controls the future. And that's when I found it, the final piece, the one that makes everything clear. June 2024, Deep Web forum post, anonymous user, claims to be Pentagon contractor, worked on Site Alpha recovery, says what they brought up, He doesn't finish the post. Account deleted mid-sentence. But people captured it. 37 seconds before deletion. Long enough to read. Quote, "What we found at Alpha isn't just technology. It's a library. Data storage in crystalline matrix. Holographic encoding. Information density beyond anything we can manufacture. Petabytes of data. Maps, schematics, mathematical formulas, genetic information. History of their civilization. And instructions. Instructions for..." Then the post cuts off. Instructions for what? That contractor disappeared. No name ever confirmed. No identity verified. Just gone. But the partial post spread. Researchers analyzed it. Crystalline data storage. Holographic encoding. Those are theoretical technologies. We're decades away from making them work. The Atlanteans had them 11,000 years ago. What else did they have? July 2024. Vatican announces Pope Francis will make special address. September 8th. Topic: relationship between faith and scientific discovery. Unusual. Specific date announced months in advance. No explanation for timing. September 8th comes. Address delivered. Streamed worldwide. Pope speaks about harmony between religion and science. Says discoveries about Earth's past don't threaten faith. Says human history may be longer and more complex than previously understood.
Says Church embraces new knowledge while maintaining core spiritual truths. He doesn't mention Atlantis, doesn't mention the flood, doesn't mention underwater ruins or ancient maps. But everyone knows what he's really addressing. He's preparing people, softening the ground, getting ready for disclosure. Because they've found something at Site Alpha, something big enough that they can't hide it forever, something that changes everything. And 3 days after the Pope's address, this happens, September 11th, 2024. Every major news network receives anonymous package, USB drives, encrypted, password protected. Password is released on dark web forum. Atlantis was real. Drives contain data, Webb telescope imaging, Pentagon briefing documents, Vatican archive catalog, photographs from Marco Tedesco, sonar scans from multiple underwater sites, spectroscopic analysis, chemical compositions. Everything. Every piece of evidence. Every suppressed finding. Every classified document. Released simultaneously to 50 news organizations worldwide. And one more thing. Video file. 90 seconds long. Taken underwater. Deep sea submersible. Site Alpha. Shows the pyramid. Carved walls. Symbols. And something else. A chamber. Intact. Sealed. Metal door. Still functioning lock mechanism. The video shows Navy divers cutting through the lock, opening the door. Camera follows them inside. The chamber is filled with light, blue-white light. No visible source, just emanating from the walls themselves. Luminescent, still glowing after 11,000 years. And in the center of the chamber, there's a device. Spherical, 3 feet diameter, floating, actually hovering, 6 inches above a pedestal. No visible support, no wires, no power source. Rotating slowly. Surface covered in the script, the unknown symbols, glowing brighter than the walls. One of the divers reaches toward it. Video cuts off. The file was released 3 months ago. September 11th, 2024. Media blackout. Total silence. No major network reported it, no newspaper covered it, No government acknowledged it. But millions of people downloaded the files, watched the video, saw the floating sphere, saw the proof. Atlantis was real. Advanced civilization existed. The Vatican knew. Governments knew. They've been lying for decades, centuries. And now, everyone knows they lied. Except here's what happened next. 3 days after the release, the servers hosting the files went offline. All of them, simultaneously. Domains seized, DNS records wiped. Hosting companies claimed legal requirement, national security. No further explanation. The files vanished from mainstream platforms. YouTube removed videos. Facebook deleted posts. Twitter suspended accounts. Reddit banned subreddits discussing it. Within a week, most of the evidence was scrubbed. But the files are still out there, on decentralized networks, peer-to-peer sharing.
Encrypted torrents can't kill them all. And people remember. Millions of people saw the video, saw the sphere, saw the light. Can't make them forget. So, that brings us to now. December 2024, 3 months after the leak. Vatican hasn't commented. Pentagon hasn't commented. No government anywhere has acknowledged it. Radio silence. But things are happening. Quiet things. Underground things. Researchers going missing. Academics losing positions. Journalists getting threatened. Websites disappearing. Evidence vanishing. The suppression is escalating. And that tells me something. They're scared. Really scared. Not of what we know now. Of what we're about to discover. Because that sphere in the video, that floating, glowing device in the sealed chamber, that's not just a relic. That's not passive technology. That's active, functional, operating. After 11,000 years in a sealed chamber on the ocean floor, that thing still works. What does it do? What did the Atlanteans build that survives millennia without maintenance, without power, without degradation? And more importantly, who opened that chamber? The video shows Navy divers cutting the lock. September 2024, 3 months ago. Where are those divers now? What happened when they touched the sphere? What did they find? The Pentagon won't say. The Vatican won't say. But someone knows. Someone is in that chamber right now, studying that device, learning how it works. And I think the Vatican has been preparing for this moment for a very long time. All the secrecy, all the suppression, all the deaths and disappearances, not to hide Atlantis, to control what happens when Atlantis is found, to make sure they're the ones who understand the technology first, who interpret the data, who decide what gets revealed and what stays buried, because knowledge is power. And ancient knowledge, advanced knowledge from a civilization that mapped the world and built structures we still can't replicate. That's ultimate power. Whoever unlocks that knowledge controls humanity's future. And the Vatican has been positioning itself to be that someone for 2,000 years. October 3rd, 2024. I receive an email, encrypted. Sender, anonymous. Subject line, "You're asking the right questions." Email contains a single attachment, video file. 4 minutes, 22 seconds. No explanation, no context. I almost delete it. Could be malware, could be a trap. But something makes me open it. The video shows a man, late 50s, gray hair, weathered face. He's sitting in what looks like a hotel room.
Cheap furniture, bad lighting, curtains drawn. He speaks directly to the camera, voice steady but tired. My name is Commander James Reeves, U.S. Navy, retired. I was part of the Site Alpha recovery operation, led the dive team that opened the chamber.
The one you saw in the leaked video. He pauses, rubs his face. I'm recording this because I need someone to know what we found, what they're doing with it, and why I had to disappear. Commander Reeves explains. The dive happened September 4th, 2024, 7 days before the video leaked. His team cut through the seal, opened the chamber door, entered. The blue-white light was real, came from the walls themselves. Bioluminescent coating, still active, still glowing. Analysis later showed it was a living organism, engineered bacteria, photosynthetic, converts minerals in the water to light energy. Perpetual light source, no fuel needed. 11,000 years and still functioning. But that wasn't the important part. The sphere, that hovering device in the center. Reeves describes it in detail. 3 feet diameter, perfectly smooth, no seams, no joints, no visible openings. Surface covered in the script, glowing symbols, rotating slowly.
1 revolution every 47 seconds. Electromagnetic field strong enough to interfere with their dive computers, strong enough to make their teeth ache, make their skin tingle. One of his divers reached out, touched it. The sphere responded. Reeves says the symbols stopped rotating, froze in place, then brightened, intense light, had to look away. When they looked back, the sphere had changed. Surface was now smooth, symbols gone, replaced by a single image. Holographic projection, floating above the sphere, crystal clear. The image showed Earth, but different. Coastlines wrong, ice caps massive, sea level 400 feet lower than today. Earth 11,000 years ago. As they watched, the image zoomed in, showed a city, massive, coastal, harbor filled with ships, buildings rising hundreds of feet, central pyramid. Same design as the pyramid they were standing inside. The city was labeled. Text appeared in the hologram. Not the unknown script. English. How did it know to display English? Reeves says it read their minds, scanned their neural patterns, detected language, adapted. The label said, Prime City, population 4,200,000, established cycle 8091. Cycle, not year, cycle. The hologram shifted, showed different cities, different continents. Labels appeared, population counts, establishment dates, names. 12 major cities, hundreds of smaller settlements, spanning the globe, connected by maritime trade routes. Total population estimate, 47 million people. 11,000 years ago, at the height of what we call the Stone Age, they had 47 million people living in cities with harbors and ships and pyramids. Then the hologram changed again, showed Earth from space, showed the ice caps, showed them melting, fast, catastrophic, water rising, coastlines flooding, cities disappearing under the waves, people fleeing inland, millions dying. The flood in real time. Geological records compressed to minutes. 400 feet of sea level rise over a period of about 300 years, starting 11,600 years ago, ending 11,300 years ago. The hologram showed the casualty count, updated as the simulation ran. 47 million became 30 million, 20 million, 10 million. By the end, 5 million survivors out of 47 million. 90% of their civilization drowned. The hologram paused. Text appeared. Critical knowledge preserved. Essential technologies archived. Instructions for reconstruction encoded. Access granted. Access granted. The sphere opened, not physically, energetically. The electromagnetic field shifted, created a connection. Reeves describes it like a download, information flowing directly into his brain. Not words, not images, pure understanding, instantaneous knowledge transfer. He knew things, suddenly, completely. Things he'd never studied, never learned.
Just knew. Mathematics, engineering, metallurgy, energy generation, genetic engineering, quantum mechanics. All of it. The complete scientific knowledge of an advanced civilization transferred in seconds. His entire dive team experienced it. 6 people, all receiving the same information, all understanding simultaneously. Then the sphere shut down. Surface returned to normal. Symbols reappeared. Resumed rotation. Mission complete. They surfaced, reported what happened, described the download, the knowledge transfer. Command ordered immediate extraction, team quarantined, medical examination, psychological evaluation, debriefing. Pentagon officials arrived, conducted interviews, separated the team, isolated them. One official asked Reeves to demonstrate his new knowledge, prove the transfer was real. Reeves drew a schematic from memory. Complete engineering diagram for a fusion reactor. Room temperature superconducting magnetic containment. 0-point energy initiation. Output efficiency 97%. Technology we don't have, can't build, can barely theorize. He drew it perfectly. Explained every component, calculated the energy yields, solved equations he'd never seen before. The official went pale, left the room. Came back an hour later with different people, civilian contractors, scientists. They asked more questions, requested more demonstrations. Reeves complied, drew more schematics, explained more systems, metallurgical processes, genetic modification techniques, atmospheric processors, gravity manipulation, faster-than-light theoretical frameworks. All from the download, all perfectly preserved in his memory. The scientists were ecstatic, called it the greatest discovery in human history, said it would advance civilization by centuries, maybe millennia. Then the Vatican delegation arrived. Cardinal Ferrara, the prefect, with 4 others, church officials, scholars, linguists. They requested private session with Reeves. Pentagon agreed. Don't know why. Don't know what authority the Vatican has in military operations, but they agreed. Ferrara asked Reeves one question. Did the sphere show you their history, their origins, their beliefs? Reeves said yes. The download included historical records, cultural information, religious practices. Ferrara asked him to describe it. Reeves explained. The Atlantean civilization, he uses that name because the sphere used it, developed over 8,000 years. Started small, hunter-gatherer tribes, gradually settled, developed agriculture, built cities, advanced technologically. No divine intervention, no alien contact, no supernatural origin. Just human beings, solving problems, learning, building, creating. They mapped the stars, understood astronomy, knew Earth was round,
calculated its circumference, measured the precession of the equinoxes, understood orbital mechanics. They developed writing, mathematics, philosophy, art, music, literature.
They had religions, multiple belief systems, gods, myths, rituals, same as every other civilization. But they also had science, and their science proved their myths wrong. Gradually, over centuries, religious authority declined, scientific authority rose. By the end, they were almost entirely secular, rational, empirical. They knew the ice was melting, predicted the flood, tried to prepare, built ships, moved populations inland, preserved knowledge. Wasn't enough. Most died anyway. Ferrara listened, face unreadable, then asked, did they have a concept of God, a creator, an eternal soul? Reeves said the download didn't include theological certainty. The Atlanteans debated it, same as we do. Some believed, some didn't. No consensus, no definitive answer. Ferrara went silent, looked at his colleagues. They whispered, Latin. Reeves couldn't understand. Then Ferrara stood, said, thank you, Commander. Your service is appreciated.
We'll take it from here. Next day, the Pentagon separated the dive team permanently, reassigned them, different bases, different countries. Reeves sent to administrative duty in Germany. No dive operations, no research involvement, desk job. He asked why. Was told national security, classified project, need-to-know basis. He no longer needed to know. But he still had the knowledge. The download was permanent, couldn't be erased, couldn't be removed. It was part of him now. He started writing it down, documenting everything, schematics, formulas, processes, hundreds of pages, thousands of pages. Security noticed, confiscated his notes, ordered him to stop, said the information was classified, recording it was a crime. He stopped writing, but couldn't stop knowing. Then, October 1st, 2024, he received orders. Immediate psychological evaluation. Involuntary commitment to military psychiatric facility. Indefinite duration. They were going to lock him up. Declare him unstable. Bury him in a hospital somewhere. Keep him quiet. He ran, went AWOL, emptied his bank account, bought a plane ticket. False identity. Left Germany. Been moving ever since. Different city every few days. Staying off-grid. Recording this video to tell someone what happened before they find him. Because they will find him. Eventually. Reeves looks directly into the camera, eyes tired but determined. The Atlanteans left us everything. Complete scientific knowledge. Technology that could solve every problem we face. Climate change, energy crisis, disease, hunger. All of it. Solutions exist, proven, tested, waiting for us to use them. But the Vatican doesn't want us to have it. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Because that knowledge proves we don't need God. Proves human beings can solve our own problems, can build paradise ourselves. Don't need divine intervention. Don't need faith. Don't need the church. And if people realize that the church loses its power, its authority, its reason to exist, so they're suppressing it, working with governments, with military, with corporations, controlling access, controlling the narrative, deciding what gets released and what stays hidden. They'll give us small pieces, gradual disclosure, trickle out technology over decades, make it look like modern innovation, like we discovered it ourselves, maintain the illusion that we need them, need their guidance, need their approval. But we don't.
The Atlanteans gave us the tools, the knowledge, the instructions, everything we need to build a better world, right now, today.
Don't let them hide it. Don't let them control it. Share this, spread it, make copies, upload everywhere. Before they find me, before they silence me like they silenced the others.
The truth can't be contained anymore. Too many people know, too many files leaked, too much evidence exposed.
Atlantis was real. The flood was real.
And human beings are capable of greatness without divine help. Remember that. Video ends.
I verified Reeves' identity. Navy records confirm Commander James Reeves. Retired September 2024. Last known location, Ramstein Air Base, Germany. Current whereabouts unknown. Listed as AWOL. His service record is exemplary. 28 years, multiple commendations. Deep-sea diving specialist. No psychiatric history. No disciplinary issues. Model officer. Until he vanished. I tried to contact him. Email bounced. Phone disconnected. No trace. But his video is real. The information checks out. The details match the leaked Pentagon documents. Match the Vatican response. Match everything. And here's what happened after I received his video. October 7th, 2024, 4 days later. I get another email, different sender, also encrypted. This one is from Dr. Rebecca Marsh, the MIT researcher who found the underwater cities using Webb telescope.
She says she was contacted by someone claiming to be from the Site Alpha dive team.
Says they shared information with her. Technical specifications, engineering data, proof of the knowledge transfer. She's been analyzing it, verifying it, running simulations. The technology is real. The fusion reactor design works. She's proven it mathematically. Computer models confirm it would function exactly as described. She's writing a paper, complete technical specifications, full disclosure. Planning to release it open source, make it public domain, free for anyone to use, build, replicate. No patents, no corporate control, no government gatekeeping. Just release it. Let humanity have it. She says the paper will be ready by November. Asked if I could help distribute it. Ensure it reaches maximum audience. Can't be suppressed. I said yes. November 4th, 2024. She sends me the paper. 372 pages, dense, technical, beautiful.
Complete engineering specifications for room temperature fusion reactor. Zero-point energy systems. Superconducting materials. Atmospheric carbon capture devices.
Desalination technology. Genetic therapy for aging. Quantum computing architecture. Everything. The complete technological foundation for a post-scarcity civilization. I upload it. Everywhere. Academic servers, file-sharing sites, torrents, blockchain storage, distributed networks, hundreds of copies, thousands of copies. Within 24 hours, it's been downloaded over 1 million times, translated into 40 languages, shared across every continent. Can't suppress it, can't delete it. It's out. November 6th. Dr. Marsh sends final email. Says she's going into hiding. Says people are looking for her. Black SUVs outside her apartment. Strangers asking neighbors questions. She's leaving. Disappearing. Staying safe. She thanks me. Says humanity deserves the truth, deserves the technology.
Deserves a future without scarcity and suffering. I haven't heard from her since, but her paper is still out there, being studied, being analyzed. Engineers are attempting to build prototypes. Universities are conducting experiments.
The knowledge is spreading. November 15th. The Vatican makes a statement. First official acknowledgement of anything related to underwater sites or ancient civilizations. Pope Francis delivers address. Says the Church has been studying archaeological evidence of advanced pre-biblical civilizations. Says findings suggest human history is more complex than previously understood. Says this doesn't contradict faith. Says God works through natural processes, through human ingenuity, through science. Says the Church will work with scientific community to responsibly share knowledge gained from archaeological discoveries. Will establish international committee. Vatican leadership, government oversight, corporate partnership.
Ensure technology benefits all humanity, under proper guidance, with appropriate safeguards. Translation: we're going to control it. Decide who gets what, when, how much. Maintain our authority, our relevance, our power. The response is immediate, massive, negative. People aren't buying it anymore. Too much evidence leaked, too many researchers spoken, too many files distributed, too much knowledge already free. The Church's authority is crumbling. Governments can't contain it. Corporations can't monopolize it. The truth is out. December 1st, 2024. Independent research team in South Korea announces successful test of fusion reactor based on Dr. Marsh's specifications. 15-minute sustained fusion reaction. Net positive energy output. Stable. Reproducible. They release their data. Open source. Free for anyone to replicate. December 8th. Team in Brazil achieves similar results. Confirms the South Korean findings. Fusion is achievable.
The Atlantean technology works. December 10th. University Consortium in Ghana begins construction of full-scale prototype reactor. Crowdfunded. Public donations. No government money. No corporate backing. Pure grassroots effort. Estimated completion, 6 months. If it works. When it works. Unlimited clean energy. Free for everyone. No more oil dependence, no more coal, no more energy scarcity. Everything changes. And the Vatican knows it. Governments know it. They're losing control, losing the ability to suppress, to contain, to manage. The old gatekeepers are failing. The old systems are breaking. The old authorities are collapsing. Not through violence, not through revolution, through information, through knowledge, through people sharing what they've learned and building what they need. The Atlanteans left us the tools, the instructions, the knowledge, and we're finally using it. But here's what terrifies them most. It's not just technology. Not just fusion reactors and energy systems and medical breakthroughs. It's what that knowledge represents, what it proves. Human beings don't need saviors, don't need rulers, don't need authority figures telling us what's possible and what's forbidden. We can solve our own problems, build our own future, create our own paradise. The Atlanteans did it. 47 million people living in advanced civilization 11,000 years ago. No divine intervention, no supernatural assistance. Just human ingenuity, human cooperation, human determination. They built cities, mapped the world, developed science, created art, achieved greatness. Then the ice melted. The flood came. Most died. But 5 million survived, scattered, started over, rebuilt. We're their descendants, their inheritors, carrying their knowledge forward, finishing what they started.
And the institutions that have controlled humanity for millennia, the churches, the governments, the corporations, they're realizing they're obsolete. We don't need them anymore. So what happens now? The suppression continues. People still disappear. Files still get deleted. Websites still go down. Researchers still get threatened. But it doesn't matter. Too late. Too widespread. Too many people know. Too many copies exist. Too much momentum built. The technology is being developed. The knowledge is spreading. The old systems are failing. We're in transition. From scarcity to abundance. From control to freedom. From darkness to light. Won't happen overnight. Won't be smooth. Won't be easy. Entrenched powers will fight, will resist, will try everything to maintain control. But they'll lose. Eventually. Inevitably. Because you can't suppress truth forever. Can't hide knowledge once it's released. Can't keep people ignorant once they've learned. The Atlanteans understood this. That's why they built the archives, the crystalline libraries, the data storage systems, preserved their knowledge for whoever would find it, whenever we were ready. And we're ready now. Marco Tedesco, the construction worker who opened the crate, who photographed the Atlantean artifacts, who disappeared days later. I found him. November 23rd, anonymous message board post. User claims to be Marco, says he's alive, in hiding, safe. Can't reveal location, can't come forward, but wants people to know he's okay. Says the artifacts he photographed were just the beginning. Says Section 13 contains thousands of items, maps, texts, tools, devices, evidence of the entire Atlantean civilization. Says Vatican is slowly moving everything, dispersing it, sending pieces to different locations, making it harder to find, harder to expose, harder to access. But he kept records, catalog numbers, item descriptions, storage locations, everything he saw during his years working there. He's releasing them, bit by bit. Anonymous posts, encrypted files, distributed networks, giving us the roadmap, the inventory, the proof. Can't get the artifacts themselves, but knowing they exist, knowing where they were, knowing what Vatican has been hiding, that's enough. That's victory. Father Marchetti, the archivist who died 3 weeks after mentioning pre-flood maps, who said people aren't ready. Maybe he was right. Maybe we weren't ready. Not then. 2024. But we are now. December 2024. We've seen the evidence, analyzed the data, built the prototypes, proven the technology works. We're ready for the truth, ready for the knowledge, ready for the responsibility, ready to inherit what the Atlanteans left us. And the maps. Those beautiful, impossible maps showing coastlines that don't exist anymore, showing Antarctica without ice, showing the world before the flood. They're real. Always were. Vatican knew. Always knew. They've been tested. Verified. Matched against modern bathymetric data. Satellite imaging, sonar mapping, geological surveys. Perfect correlation. Ancient maps showing accurate geography from 11,000 years ago. Proof of advanced civilization. Proof of maritime exploration. Proof of scientific achievement. Proof we've been lied to for centuries. But now we know. Can't unknow it. Can't unsee it. Can't go back to ignorance. Dr. Soares, the Portuguese metallurgist who analyzed the 11,000-year-old alloy, who was silenced and threatened,
she reached out. December 9th says she kept samples, microscopic fragments, hidden before authorities seized the object. She's been analyzing them, quietly, carefully. The alloy is impossible by modern metallurgy standards, requires precision temperature control, exact elemental ratios, advanced forging techniques, none of which existed 11,000 years ago, according to official history. But the Atlanteans had it, produced it, used it.
Created objects that survived millennia underwater without corrosion, without degradation. We're trying to replicate it now. Based on her analysis, multiple research teams, different countries, coordinating efforts, sharing data. If we succeed, we gain material science centuries ahead of current technology. Stronger than steel, lighter than aluminum, corrosion-proof, heat-resistant. Revolution in construction, transportation, manufacturing, everything. The Atlanteans gave us the formula. We just have to build it. Dr. Aisha Yilmaz, the archaeologist at Göbekli Tepe, who found the sealed chamber, who saw the metal artifacts, who was threatened by Vatican representatives. She's talking again. December 14th, published new paper. Fully detailed account of what she found. Photographs she kept hidden. Analysis she conducted privately. The chamber beneath Göbekli Tepe connects to larger network. Underground tunnels, extending for miles, connecting to other megalithic sites. All built around 9,500 BC. All using the same architectural style, same symbols, same construction techniques. Not isolated temple, part of global network, communication system, trade routes, unified civilization. She's organizing new excavation, private funding, international team. No government interference, no institutional control. Just science, just truth. They begin digging March 2025. What will they find? More artifacts? More evidence? More proof? Doesn't matter. We already know. The evidence is overwhelming, undeniable, absolute. Atlantis existed. Advanced civilization flourished. The flood destroyed it. Survivors rebuilt. And we're their children, inheriting their legacy, continuing their work. So let me close all the loops, answer all the questions, tie everything together. What was Atlantis? Advanced maritime civilization, spanning multiple continents, 47 million people, developed over 8,000 years. Achieved technological sophistication comparable to modern civilization. Mapped the world, built cities, created art and science and culture. When did it exist? Peak civilization, 13,000 to 11,600 years ago. Destroyed by post-glacial flooding when Ice Age ended. Sea levels rose 400 feet over 300 years. 90% casualty rate. Survivors scattered. Where was Atlantis? Everywhere. Not one city, entire civilization. Major population centers now underwater. Mid-Atlantic Ridge, Mediterranean Basin, Caribbean, South China Sea, coastal regions worldwide, all drowned. What did they know? Everything. Mathematics, astronomy, engineering, metallurgy, medicine, genetics, energy systems, quantum mechanics, complete scientific knowledge, preserved in crystalline data storage, waiting in sealed chambers, ready for discovery. Who found it? We did. Multiple researchers, different locations, different times. Webb telescope imaging,
deep-sea expeditions, archaeological excavations, naval recovery operations, information leaked, evidence released, truth exposed. What does the Vatican have? Maps, artifacts, texts, physical evidence, stored in Section 13, hidden for centuries, slowly being moved, dispersed, but inventories exist, catalog records leaked, proof documented. Why did they hide it? Power, authority, control. Admitting advanced pre-biblical civilization existed undermines church chronology, undermines divine narrative, proves human achievement without supernatural intervention, threatens institutional relevance. What happens next? We build, we create, we advance, using Atlantean knowledge, using proven technology, fusion reactors, energy systems, medical therapies, material science, environmental restoration, everything needed for post-scarcity civilization. No more gatekeepers, no more suppression. Knowledge free, technology open source, future unlimited. Are they trying to stop us?
Yes, Vatican, governments, corporations, old powers, entrenched interests, suppressing, threatening, silencing, but failing. Too late, too widespread, too many people know, too much evidence distributed, momentum unstoppable.
Will we succeed?
Already succeeding. Reactors being built, papers being published, research accelerating, knowledge spreading, systems changing, old authorities collapsing, new world emerging. Inevitable, unstoppable, happening now.
And that brings me to you, right now, watching this, hearing this, learning this. You're part of it, part of the transition, part of the revolution, part of humanity's awakening. What you do next matters. This video will be suppressed. I know this. YouTube might delete it, might age restrict it, might demonetize it, might shadow ban it. Doesn't matter. Download it, share it, upload it everywhere. Multiple platforms, multiple accounts, mirrors, backups, torrents, blockchain storage.
Make it impossible to delete. Make it unavoidable. Make it viral.
The files I've linked in description, Dr. Marsh's paper, Commander Reeves' testimony, Marco's photographs, historical documents, Pentagon leaks, Vatican archives. Download them all, save them, distribute them, preserve them. This information belongs to humanity, not to institutions, not to governments, not to corporations. To us, to you, to everyone. And when people call you crazy, when they say it's conspiracy theory, when they mock and dismiss and ridicule, show them the evidence, the maps, the underwater ruins, the technological specifications, the peer-reviewed papers, the confirmed experiments. Show them proof. Let them decide. Let them research. Let them learn. Truth doesn't need force, doesn't need authority, just needs exposure, sunlight, visibility. The Atlanteans understood this. That's why they preserved their knowledge, made it accessible, left it for us. They trusted us to find it, to understand it,
To use it wisely. Let's prove them right.
December 24th, 2024, 2 hours ago.
I received final email from address I don't recognize. Message simple. They know about you,
Leave now. Stay safe. Continue the work. I'm recording this from the airport, leaving, going underground. Same as Reeves, same as Marsh, same as Marco. Can't stop the message by stopping the messenger. Already out, already spreading, already unstoppable. This might be my last video for a while. Might be my last communication. Don't know. But the information continues, with or without me. Because of you. Because of everyone watching, everyone sharing, everyone caring enough to preserve the truth. The Vatican's basement archives held maps of pre-flood civilizations. That's what the title promised. That's what I've proven. But it's more than maps, more than archives, more than Vatican secrets. It's about who we are, where we came from, what we're capable of. We're descendants of greatness.
Children of genius, inheritors of wisdom. The flood tried to destroy us, almost succeeded. But we survived, rebuilt, remembered. And now we're reclaiming what was lost, what was hidden, what was stolen. Our heritage, our knowledge, our future. Atlantis was real. The maps prove it. The ruins prove it. The technology proves it. And the Vatican knew, the whole time, for centuries, for millennia. They kept it secret, kept us ignorant, kept us dependent. But secrets die in light. Ignorance dies with knowledge. Dependence dies with capability. The light is here. The knowledge is spreading. The capability is building. We're free now. Free to know. Free to build. Free to become what we were always meant to be. What the Atlanteans were. What we can be again. Final thing. Most important thing. If you watch this far, you're one of the ones who sees, who understands, who knows. Don't let that knowledge die with you. Don't keep it secret. Don't stay silent. Share it. Teach it. Spread it. Protect it. Make copies of this video. Download the files. Save the evidence. Distribute everywhere. They can't silence all of us. Can't suppress millions. Can't hide truth when entire world is watching. We're the resistance now. The truth tellers. The knowledge keepers. The future builders. Every view, every share, every download, every conversation. Victory. Progress. Freedom. The Atlanteans mapped the world before the flood, preserved their knowledge in sealed chambers, left instructions for reconstruction. We found the chambers, read the instructions, learned the knowledge. Now we build. Now we create. Now we achieve. Not for governments, not for corporations, not for churches. For us. For humanity. For the future. The old world is ending. The new world is beginning. And you're part of it. Right now. This moment. Welcome to the awakening. Welcome to the truth. Welcome to humanity's next chapter. I'm signing off now. Going dark. Staying safe. Continuing the work elsewhere. But you'll hear from others. Researchers, scientists, engineers, truth seekers, knowledge sharers. We're everywhere. Growing, connecting, building. Can't stop us. Can't silence us. Can't suppress us. The Atlanteans survived the flood. We'll survive the suppression. And we'll build something beautiful on the other side.